I mean, back in the day, though, like, we want to have a little kiki at one point meant like a Coke, like a bump of Coke. Like, that was like an old school New York term at one point for like, let's have a little kiki. That's what it meant at some point.
But did that come from like taking the key and dipping it into the Coke and hitting the bump off the key?
I don't know. Maybe. You know, I have a fob now, so I'm happy I don't do Coke anymore.
Honey Davenport is my guest today. You know her from the most amazing reality competition show on TV, RuPaul's Drag Race. This convo gets wild. We learn a lot about drag culture, being in an open marriage, family, biological, and drag fam. And this one starts off with a shocker as she explains how to tuck back the kielbasa. Let's go, loser.
All right. Oh, this is great. Okay, cool.
How did you had those glued on? That doesn't hurt?
It hurts.
Oh.
Yeah, that just hurt like a bitch.
Just tough.
Yeah. I'm sitting on my penis right now. You know, I'm really tough.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to start with tucking. Because my wife really wants to know.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, babe, when it's flaccid, it kind of just will go anywhere you want.
Yeah, it will. Like, and if it's hot and sweaty and you're like on the East Coast and it's humid, they'll stick to the side of your leg. You've had that happen to you before?
I'm from Florida.
Shorts? Yeah, Florida, if you wear shorts and you free ball, like, it just like
sticky.
picks a side and just like...
It does.
It does. It's the worst thing in the world. I always wonder, do girls' boobs do that? Do like their boobs like stick to a like place?
I think it just gets really like sweaty.
Under sweat? Yeah.
They're talking about boob sweat.
Boob sweat, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you want to explain the tucking process? Because here's the thing about this podcast. There is a lot of people that are just fans of me being a chef. So I'm opening them to a whole new world. I'm pushing the boundaries with crossover of reality and bringing on anyone that has not won a reality competition show. So I
have
idols lined up. Obviously, you're my first drag queen. Mm-hmm. You've popped my drag cherry. I'm like, my drag name would now be Foxy Davenport, right?
I guess I'm like your mother.
You're my drag mom, which we're going to talk about
all of the things. But you want to start with tucking.
You brought it up. You started with tucking. So
you're a chef. So I'll explain it to you in chef terms.
We're going to get in chef terms.
Yeah, there's a sausage and 2 meatballs. You push the meatballs.
I was thinking of some shrimp and croquettes, but okay.
Oh, well, I'm black, girl. So there's a
sausage and 2 meatballs.
There's a sausage and 2 meatballs. Maybe a kielbasa in my case.
Shit.
But which actually makes it easier, honestly, if you're a little more well-endowed. It's a little easier to hide it because you can pull it further back. We'll get into that. First things first, you take the meatballs and you push them inside of your body. Little known fact, guys
can do that.
Meatballs, they go there naturally. Like, you know, when you say like your balls didn't drop, it's because there's a cavity right there for your balls to go to. And sometimes when you're like sleeping or like actually like, I mean, I hope this is not like a super PC podcast, but sometimes when you blow like a huge load, your nuts go in there anyway. Have you ever had that happen to you? Yeah. So you start off by pushing the balls inside.
It's also, just to stop you real quick, they also use it in martial arts. There's videos of like karate dudes like taking kicks to the groin over and over because they don't feel it because they put them inside.
Oh no! So
it's a safety mechanism too in martial arts. So continue.
I'm a ninja. I didn't even know that. I thought this was a drag queen. I'm also a ninja. I'm adding that to my resume. And so you push the meatballs inside.
Okay.
And then you pull everything else back.
Mm-hmm. What do you use to keep it back? Do you just use underwear? Or you duct tape or?
That's a personal thing. However, not for me. I don't tape. I have tape before. That shit hurts like crazy, girl. Like, not really. There's like good medical adhesive tapes and ways to tape and things you should know if you want to do that. Most drag queens I know who like duct tape is because they're like actually using like their own bodies and doing like nude, more naked or drag.
So they want it smoother.
Yeah. So when you're wearing like tons of tights and pads and stuff like that, then you don't have to like use duct tape. That's a little extreme. You can use tucking panties. For years I used to make my own tucking panties. I've been doing drag for over 15 years now. Yeah. So when I first started, I used to make my tucking panties out of denim and nylons. It will hold it all back. Sometimes one time my tuck was so tight that like I untucked and like I had bruised myself. I thought I had an STI. I just tucked too hard. It was like insane. But it doesn't hurt normally. It doesn't hurt normally. And now they make these awesome underwear. I'm not getting paid for this endorsement. I just love them and use them every day of my life. And they're called Tuck It Ups.
Tuck It Ups.
Tuck It Ups are like these panties for like trans women and drag queens that hide the candy.
We need to get them to sponsor this episode.
That'd be amazing. Right?
My goodness. Well, I didn't know that's where we were going to start.
That's where we started.
Tucking. Yeah. I never even considered the balls going up into the cavity.
Yeah, the balls got to go up into the cavity because then you can flatten everything else back.
That makes so much sense.
And especially if you're like, you're not, but then you just pull everything else far back and then you really can't see anything. Smooth operator, wow.
I watched your season.
Oh, yay.
I watched as far as you went.
Work. You got it.
Well, because not because I don't want to watch any more of the show. I've watched other seasons and other episodes. It's been an insane week, and I had 3 to 4 guests today, so I was cramming all your guys' seasons of everything, and then I got cookie events and I got a full-time private gig, private chef gig. So it's just been an insane week.
I mean, nothing against any of the other girls on my season. I think World of Wonder did a great job producing it. RuPaul extending on every episode. But I mean, did you really need to watch more after me? Like, no, I agree with you stopping there.
Honestly, I was kind of annoyed that there wasn't more of you.
Yeah, I was very annoyed too.
And
oh my gosh, you just reminded me of how annoyed I was.
Yeah. What's her name? Chewed up the camera time.
Who?
Why am I drawing a blank on her name?
Yeah, well, because she's not Honey Davenport.
Well, yeah, but you know who I'm talking about. Silky.
Nutmeg Ganache?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her though.
She is funny, but man, she chewed up the camera time.
Which is not the only thing she's chewed up.
Oh.
I love her. She's one of my...
I said to my wife, I was like, how much hooking up goes on this show?
None, because they seclude us from each other.
Okay. So that hasn't stopped other shows in the past. I know. It
hasn't stopped other shows in the past. And I'm not saying that I didn't hook up with anybody who's on my season. However, I don't particularly care for that person like in real life, so I don't give them any airtime.
Got it.
You know who you are, bitch, and you sucked. What was I about to say? Yeah, so not really much hooking up goes on. In fact, I didn't hook up with anybody while we were actually recording my season. It's impossible.
Yeah. Okay. So she's like, no one hooks up. They're all business. And I was like, they look all business, but there's some jokes that fly around that doesn't sound like it. But
I know, it's all that we all want to, especially you got.
Is the sexual tension high?
Yeah. Have you ever seen a room of gay dudes? If you leave them alone for 5 seconds, somebody's fucking. It's what it is. It's what happens.
I've had many gay men tried to change me.
I wouldn't try to change you, just maybe actually take a visit on the other side.
Not
trying to change your life.
Okay, in the past I would say not change. But
gay guys have the approach so wrong. They're trying to convert straight men. No, just invite them for a visit.
Yeah,
it's just a breeze. Because you could be straight and take a visit. I mean, I've taken a visit to straightness and it didn't last. Obviously.
Why? What did you not like?
Oh, I loved it, actually.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm pretty pansexual, to be quite honest. But I don't know. I don't feel romantically interested in women. But every other gender perspective, I do. So for me, I don't feel romantically interested in cisgender women. However, I have found tons of trans women attractive.
Okay.
And have dated trans women and trans men and men, but cisgender women, just there's something I'm girl, no, we should be painting each other's nails.
Yeah.
Like, this is not it.
Right.
Yeah, it just feels like not it. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, if a guy, like, no offense, gave you like a bomb ass BJ, it'd be a bomb BJ, but you'd probably be like, yeah, bro, this is not it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I would be like, thanks for the BJ.
Thanks for the BJ. That's how I kind of was with a girl. I was like, thanks for the BJ, but like, where's your beard? You know?
It's interesting how sex can really make people uncomfortable, because when you do get comfortable with who you are and you love, like Rue says, how are you going to love anybody else if you can't love yourself, right? I probably butchered that, but
yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
It's close. Like
I say that to myself when I'm masturbating.
You got to love you got to love yourself. And then when you love yourself and you're comfortable with yourself and you're comfortable with sexuality, it doesn't bother you anymore. And then, you know, I mean, do you feel that way? I mean, you definitely have ventured around, so you...
Yeah, I'm a pretty, like, open sexual book.
So it doesn't bother you?
It doesn't. You know, it weirds me out that it does bother people, because the fact of the matter is that every single person who's here came from somebody having sex.
Facts.
Like, every one of us.
Yeah.
So, like, why is this a weird thing?
Right.
We all got here from fucking. Like, this should be as normal as talking about pizza.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because pizza and fucking go together great.
Pizza and fucking go together real great, y'all. Add in a blunt and I'll marry you.
Oh, shit. Well, you can have the whole blunt because I can't smoke.
You can't smoke.
I want to, and I've been trying. Okay, I have a place out in Dallas as well, because my private client, I go back and forth.
Okay.
So I've been trying to like get my tolerance up, because that's what everyone says. And I've tried different strands of the sativas and the indicas and whatever. And it does not matter. The tiniest bit just KOs me.
Oh shit.
Done.
You know,
done.
Some people are like that, and I'm jealous of them, because if I didn't have like right underneath of my rent bill and my electric bill is my weed bill, and I'm always like, fuck, man, like how, you know, like when I'm going through my accounting and shit, and it's like, this is how much you spent on weed this month. I'm like, the fuck. I wish that I had that problem, that I couldn't smoke weed. Unfortunately, like, my blood type is THC. Like I fucking love this shit. Like, it makes me into a normal human being.
Yeah, I wish we could Joe Rogan it up right now and share a blunt, but I wouldn't get past any more questions.
My boyfriend's like that, and he always, like, he tries to smoke sometimes. So like 2 weeks ago, we were in a club. We were actually at the club that I just did brunch at. We were at Precinct in downtown LA. I worked there a lot. I love it there.
Shout out Precinct.
Shout out to Precinct.
I gotta come check it out.
Yeah. And we were at Precinct. We stepped outside. We smoked a blunt. We came back in, and like, he had another cocktail. I don't do much drinking. I prefer herbal.
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna change. I wanted to release the sausage and meatballs before we had to take a lift home, and I went to change, and then I looked down at my phone. I had 6 text messages. This motherfucker had a whole panic attack in the middle of the club. Like, he cannot smoke weed. And afterwards, I was like, all right, baby. So, like, lesson learned. Like, if you want to try, don't try with me.
Yeah.
Try out there with your friends. Like, don't have no panic attack with me. I'm over this shit.
Yeah, and I don't panic. I love the way I feel when I'm high. I really do. I like the feeling that the high over that I have. It's crazy. It's like I can feel the weed in me for days, and I don't like feeling so it makes me feel real heavy, and I'm like, oh, I just want to eat, and then everything is funny, and I feel bad because I mean, like if I smoked, I would like, it could be, I could look at my mom and just start laughing, and she'd be like, what? And I'd be like, you look funny, you know?
I mean, I look at my mom and start laughing all the time. She's gorgeous, but yeah.
Right, you just...
maybe because I'm also always stoned.
Well, tell me about, okay, so let's jump there. Tell me about your mom. I know on the show you briefly spoke, and I've heard, I did a little research, and it seems like growing up in Philadelphia, there was some stuff that, there was some gun violence in your past. You've been around some hardships, and just tell me what you want the people to know, and we can center it around your family. Tell me about your family, your mom, your home life. Do you have siblings, that kind of thing?
Well, my growing up in Philly was, I always say it was very interesting because I felt like I was very different than everyone. You know, I was like kind of an outsider. But even though I felt very like different from everyone, like I was a strange kid. Like I just didn't want to do anything that everybody else was doing because I wanted to be a fucking drag queen.
How young did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
At all. But
like, you just knew that when it clicked, you understood.
There was something that I was like looking for in life, you know? So I didn't feel that. I didn't have that. And I was a very strange kid, even into like my teenage years and a little bit into like the beginnings of college. My family though is super supportive.
That's good.
I got other like queer icons in my family. Lee Daniels is my big cousin.
Oh.
So he did all the hard work. When he came out, it was he did all of his time was a lot different.
Yeah.
My family literally like disowned him for some period of time. And I think they realized they fucked up on that shit. So they're like, we're not doing that again. If one of our kids is they're gay and they're doing something that might get them on TV, we're gonna be like, I'm at everything.
Yeah.
Right? Now I feel the pressure that like looking for me to be as successful as Lee fucking Daniels. Like, girl,
that's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure.
Just do you.
Right?
Just do you.
Yeah, so it wasn't hard like once I came out or anything, but I just felt so like I felt so not West Philadelphia. But the funny thing about it is as an adult, I realized how much that upbringing, how much of that is me, how much of that I am, and shaped me, how much I am so West Philly, you know?
Yeah.
I hadn't accepted who I was, and I didn't love who I was, you know, I didn't accept my queerness, so it was something that was just so hidden and forced. I was just like a shy weirdo, but like super talented and like hella fucking hot kid. I was looking at pictures of me as a kid and I was like, did I know I was this fucking hot? Like the fuck? Who knows? Should have told me. I'd have got a lot more ass if I knew I was this hot.
Oh my God.
But yeah. So that was like growing up in a nutshell. And my mom and my father are still both very active in my life.
Are they together?
No, they're not. They separated when I was 1, so I don't remember none of that shit. Like, I think like my dad was like an OG drug dealer and pimp, and my mom was like, I don't want that around my kid anymore. And yeah, it was real shit.
So did you not see your dad growing up, or did you go back and forth?
I didn't see my dad. Get into this. This is the crazy story. I don't think I've ever said this in an interview. I didn't see my dad. I saw him when I was 1. That's when they separated. I don't remember that. Right. The earliest memory I have ever in life is when I was 5. And this is about to tell you how old I am. When I was 5 years old, my dad took me to see Roger Rabbit. So Roger Rabbit came out when I was 5. I'm old as shit. Right? And then I didn't see my dad again until I was 9. And when I was 7, so in the middle of that, I read an article that said somebody by my father's exact name had been shot and died. And so for like 2 years, I thought that my dad was dead. And then one day my aunt saw him in the grocery store, and apparently he had just been in jail. That's all. He was just locked up. He wasn't dead.
Wow.
I know. It was very weird. So like at 9, I like... So
at 7, you accepted that your dad was dead. And then at 9...
Yeah. A fucking crazy child. This is why I push my meatballs inside now. This is the reason. Dad, you're welcome.
Daddy issues. Okay, so after 9, did you see him again?
Yes. So after 9, he was pretty, you know, my dad didn't have great parenting. So he didn't always understand how to be a great father. And so he was really in and out of my life for a lot of my younger life. Yeah. Now we're fucking thick as thieves. Like he's just like my OG homie. We hang out all the time. He can roll a blunt with one hand, walking down the street. Like, I wish I could do that shit. Like, you know, I feel like now we have cool father-son time. And
cool.
I recently went to Philly and spent his birthday with him. We got lit at the club together. Like, he'll come out and he'll see all my shows. He's super supportive.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. He came out and said he was going to build all of the stuff in my apartment and be like a super dad, but he didn't. And I hooked up with some guy who did. And I was like, look at this. I got that bomb. Anyway. But like, we're really close. And we're homies. And my mom's like a mom.
Yeah.
We don't like, she
just keeps it real.
Yeah, she probably won't listen to this interview after I bring up meatballs and sausage. She'll be like, enough of that one.
Never.
I have a YouTube show called Trade where we talk about interesting sex stories and we take sex questions from the internet. Me and one of my really good friends, Dakota Payne, who's a porn star here in LA. We do this YouTube show, and my mom watches everything that I do.
Except that.
She texted me one day. She's like, so trade's not for me, huh? And I was like, no, I guess not.
That's funny. What are some of the wild questions you've gotten on trade? Like,
we've gotten so many wild things. Like, my husband's dick's ugly. Should I suck it anyway? Like, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? No, divorce him. How are you going to be with somebody whose dick you don't want to suck? That's like rule number one. Like, if he walks in the room and you don't want to suck your dick, you're not, like, they say, isn't its kiss, right?
Yeah.
They're talking about sucking dick when I sing that song. That's what they were talking about.
Oh my gosh. Wild.
Yeah. You asked for a drag queen to be on the show. I don't know what you expected.
No, absolutely this. Yo, I'll tell you my first, well, it's not my first drag queen experience, but my most memorable.
Ooh, that means you had some awful ones before that.
No, I didn't have really any. I just, so I was dating this girl. Her friend was in a drag show, and we would go to West Hollywood and support. And it was a competition.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at... not Rage, but
Mickey's.
I'm
at Mickey's tomorrow night, girl.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
What time?
10 o'clock ish. Because drag shit. Come through.
We might come through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you get me in? I don't gotta stand out there.
I got you. Okay. We're good.
All right, I'll text you. We would go to Mickey's and we would go support her friend. And here's the thing. When I go support something or I go see something, I want front row. I always...
Okay, work.
From comedy shows to concerts.
He's like, treat me like I'm grand.
Well, yeah. I got advice from a lady one time. Life is too short for bad wine and cheap seats. And I'm like, when I can live by that, I'm living by that.
Yeah, you're I haven't gotten over the bad wine part because I'm broke sometimes, right?
Well, here's the thing. The reason it's not cheap wine and bad seats is... you can get good cheap wine. Yeah. But there's no good seats that are cheap. Does that make sense?
My boyfriend recently, and it was in Milwaukee, but he got $80 seats to see Dua Lipa on the floor. He's on the fucking floor for $80.
Wow.
It was like the day of. It was like cancellation seats. So you can get some cheap seats too.
That's interesting because back in the day, like when I went to concerts in like 2002, 2003, like the floor seats were the cheap seats.
Are they?
They used to that used to be $5. You'd be in the floor because you have to rub elbows with people that's sweaty. You don't have your own space. You're standing there. It gets wild like that.
Oh, so maybe that was the cheap seats. I was like, you're on the floor. Dua Lipa's right there.
Yeah,
doing her little bounce thing.
Yeah,
that one dance move she always does.
So anyway, we would go. We'd sit up front, and we'd watch the queens do their shows, and it was great. And then one time we went across the street to the Abbey. And we watched like a later show at the Abbey. And we sit up front. And this queen comes out and she's a big girl. And she's got like hers is like all about comedy. It's like this comedy dance routine. And she's like doing her thing and she's dancing and she's picked me out and we've made eye contact. And, I'm just like sitting there naive and smiling. And she works her way over and drops to her knees and pulls a giant dildo out of her breast.
Titty? Yeah.
And slaps it in my lap and starts blowing me in the front of everyone in the Abbey. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm just going for it. And the whole place just erupted. And I was like, oh my God, I've been going to a PG drag show at Mickey's compared to this thing.
So you kind of gotten a blowjob from a drag queen before, sort of. in so many words.
Exactly attached, but I got the visual.
Yeah. What did you think of that?
I thought it was hilarious. Like,
yeah. You see, just for everybody listening, getting a blowjob from a drag queen is hilarious. So, like,
it was funny. It's like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not like, I'm not shy or weirded out by like sex, you know, or anything like that. And also, I know when I'm sitting up front, like when I go to a comedy show, like Dane Cook, one of the biggest comedians in the world, like made fun of me at the Comedy Store.
Oh, wow.
Sitting up, because I sit up front and like I was just laughing. And he's like, you look like some Silver Lake pirate. And I was just dying.
Did you look like a Silver Lake pirate though?
Probably that day I did. You know, I don't know. It was funny. Like that stuff doesn't bother me. When people get upset at these shows and like heckle people or get mad at like a comedian or get offended by, you know, a drag queen doing some kind of move, it's like you shouldn't be there then. Like, go back home.
That's weird. Yeah.
Go figure out what's wrong with you and then come back. So I thought it was hilarious, and now it's a great story that I have forever.
Yeah.
But now I just shared it.
You can like start it off by saying like, so I technically got a blowjob from a drag queen. That's how you enter. You know, you always got to hit them with the headline. You know, you got to think like a news channel. You got to hit them with the headline first.
Love it.
You wrap them in, get them interested. Be like, so I technically got blown by a drag queen at the Abbey.
Tell me how you did that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, great. I have fixed my story for the one day that I decide to do stand-up comedy. I would love to do stand-up comedy. I just don't know how to get all the ideas in my head out in comedy form.
Yeah, I know. It's like really, it's not hard to like say a funny thing.
Right.
But then to stand in front of a room and like make them laugh is
right. Conceptualize jokes and tie them all together and put a button at the end.
That's a lot.
It's an art form.
I just want to put on makeup and dance around and like move my mouth to other people's music or make my own music. I make a lot of my own music.
Yeah, tell me about your band.
I used to have a band called Electro Honey for years, and that was great. And that was like kind of. I had made one single as a queen before that. Like my music and my drag have always gone hand in hand. I've been making music as long as I've been doing drag. Since being on, I made a ton of singles after having a band, and then since being on television, I've released a shit ton more music. And recently,
Just As Honey.
Okay. And recently, my very first EP called Love Is God, I released in January. My very first solo EP. Which is a EP of features and features a ton of other like drag royalty. So it's got Manila Luzon, who also lost Drag Race. It's got Tammy Brown, who also lost Drag Race. It's got Jackie Cox, who also lost Drag Race.
Sounds like I got a whole slew of new guests.
No, they're all awesome. They're all like some of the most like talented, notable people within the Drag Race franchise. Yeah. It's got a legend on there, Kevin Alviance, who's a music legend, and it's got Lala Ree, who's Miss Congeniality of Drag Race. So she kind of won something.
Wow.
But they're all like hardcore drag royalty, and they all are awesome musical artists.
And this is out now?
This is out now.
You release this?
I released it in January. I crushed it. It's fucking dope. I'm about to do just my second big performance of it at RuPaul's DragCon coming up in a couple weeks. So yeah, it's been great. It's been pretty well received too. It's been received like a little more than a lot of my other music. So that's been really, really, really great.
When's Ru's DragCon?
RuPaul's DragCon is May 13th, 14th, 15th. It took me a second. You know, I did smoke weed today. So.
That's exciting. That's going to happen before this comes out, but that's okay.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I'm stockpiling these right now because I'm on a new season of MasterChef.
Yes.
And it comes out May 25th.
Okay.
And so Are
you going to break the record of your show by winning it?
I can't tell you.
Oh, shit.
You know about them NDAs.
I hope so. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. So I'm releasing episodes of the podcast day after
episodes, which is so smart. Yeah. That's actually what I did with my music when I was on RuPaul's Drag Race. So
and that helped with the boost.
I released 9 singles while the show was airing, and I'd be like, oh, the runway was gold this time. This is my new song about gold. Like I just kept writing music. It was actually the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. Actually,
and like Ru does that. She puts out music on the show. She has you guys like lip sync battle to some of her songs sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it's a brilliant marketing
It's
move.
brilliant.
Gordon does it with MasterChef and Hell's Kitchen. He always features his beef Wellington, and then he sells 1 million beef Wellingtons worldwide.
Right.
Like literally millions of beef
Is the beef Wellington really good, though?
It's good.
It's good, okay.
It takes insane amount of tuck work to make a beef Wellington come out, right?
Right. You go. Well, listen. It takes
Did I do a joke?
You did.
Yeah, there's lots of searing and rapping, and it's a lot.
There's a lot of rapping in RuPaul's music too. So
yeah, and do you rap?
I do a like a really eclectic mix of everything.
Yeah.
I started writing poetry and songs first, so like I kind of started in more of a rap direction.
Yeah.
Growing up, my mom used to let me help me express myself. She would let me rap to her. So she'd be like, you can say anything you want, like anything. Like you can even cuss if you want to. It's like, I can say fuck. She's like, yeah, but it's got to rhyme. Like you got to make a rap for it. So like that was like her way of getting little awkward, quiet me to like open up and talk.
Yeah.
And yeah, now I basically do the same thing. I just like talk about like, rainbows and sucking dick and like gay shit. And people buy it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm loving this wig and the headphones. It's just like such disco vibes right now.
It reminds me of when I'm DJing. So I DJ sometimes in wigs like this, and I have to use headphones. Yeah,
the in-ear headphones.
They
don't work. They hurt.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah,
but what about like in-ear monitors? Have you ever used those?
I haven't used those. I haven't performed it anywhere that fancy yet, I guess.
No, you got to get them made yourself. You go. It's so much fun. You go to like a ear, nose, and throat, an ENT specialist, and they mold your ears, and then you get things, and then you ship it to the in-ear monitor place, and they make it for you, and then they're molded to your ears. They're amazing.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, you should look into that.
I know. Now I want to do it. Now I feel like I should be more fancy,
and then you don't have to deal with this with the
wigs and stuff. Yeah.
But the orange wig in episode 1, that whole outfit, I wrote it down because I was just like, the orange wig, the pleather pink dress.
Mm-hmm.
It was like futuristic Stepford vibes.
Thank you. I think I'm a futuristic Stepford wife.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate. That's a pretty accurate description of me.
I like that. I'm into fashion. I really like fashion. I know I'm just like here in this black shirt today, but
it's all good.
I admire fashion. I love like dressing my wife. Like,
cool.
I'd pick out her clothes. I'd take her shopping. It's a fun time.
I have 2 partners. I'm poly. Neither my boyfriend or my husband has any fashion advice from me. I try to ask them, like, who do you think this looks like? Especially my boyfriend. He'll be like, it's whatever. I'm like, yeah, you look nice. Yeah, it's cool. Like, and I'm always like, but do I look bad? No, you don't look bad. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I don't look bad. We got that. Like, should I change it to something? It's whatever. I wish I had somebody who was like, oh no, girl, wear this. And your girlfriend's got the straight guy doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah. I've like girls in high school, like my girlfriends in high school would joke that I was like the straight gay guy.
Oh, cute.
Because I like clothes. I like the way things look like, but I'm also, and sometimes it's a little tricky, and like, I wish I could explain to guys that it is okay. And also it is okay to girls. Like when my wife puts on something I don't like and we're about to go out in the public, I tell her, I'm like, hey, I don't like that. Like, I don't say it like that. I'm like, hey, could you maybe wear this? Or like, I'm just not vibing with what you're wearing. And she's like, oh, okay. It's just like communication, right?
Right.
But from day one, I was like that with her.
Yeah.
So she understands, like when I'm telling her, like, I don't like what she's wearing, I'm not trying to offend her. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like, I know what she's capable of looking like. And if we're going out to dinner, like, and I'm wearing my favorite thing, and like, but also like, she'll tell me, that hat's stupid. Don't wear that hat.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love this hat. And she's like,
then
but
the
it's
rebuttal
stupid.
is, if you love it, then like love it. And wear the stupid hat, or wear the unflattering thing that makes you feel good. Like,
right.
At the end of the day, I think that my version of that with my partners is, I'll tell them like if I'm not feeling something, but also in a way that is encouraging to them. Because clothing yourself is a form of expression too.
Right.
So most of the time when I'm like, oh, maybe you shouldn't wear that, is because one of my partners, he likes to wear like really tiny shirts that don't really fit him sometimes, and I'm always like, oh, do you have another shirt? You got another option?
Right.
Right. But
he likes that.
Did you want to wear a midriff? Like, is this
right? You're saying it like that.
Is this what you were going for, or do you want another shirt? And most of the time, they'd be like, "Oh no, this one doesn't fit. I didn't even know. Let me go get another shirt." So
right. yeah. It's never from a place of it's always like with love and like like it's like if we're going out, I'm like, you have a better dress, like let's wear the better dress, that kind of thing. But I also like it's all like life is all about perspective. It's like I only have my idea of what I am, who I am, what I look like, how I'm presenting myself, and then in the room, the way you see me, I don't know how you see me,
right?
And I'm only gonna understand that if you communicate it, right?
Yeah,
and that's how that works. But
I'm sure you looked in some mirrors, though.
Yeah, you look in mirrors, but again, it's your own perception.
Yeah,
your own
perspective.
Right. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know how you're saying. Like I see the left side of my face different than other people. Like I know my good side and my bad side, and some people are like, you don't have a good side or a bad side. You look good, and I'm like, no, I have a bad side. And it's
really?
Like, yeah,
where
exactly?
Okay.
Well, hold on. You dropped a bomb on me that we kind of just slipped over.
Let's do it.
Boyfriend and husband.
I do. I'm polyamorous.
I understand the definition, but how does that work? Like, are you legally married? Like,
I am legally married.
Okay.
Yes, me and my husband have been together. We started dating 11 years ago. Almost 12 years ago, and we've been married for almost 10 years. Excuse me. And he lives in New York, and we've been open and poly for our entire marriage. We have a very strong, like very successful bond. Legit my best friend in the whole world. He's an awesome guy. And he has another partner as well, which is really cool, who I love. We're like a really cool, loving family. And 11 months ago, I met a really awesome, cute little hottie who became my new boyfriend, and he lives with me here in LA.
Okay.
And that's been like great and successful. We're a really well-functioning family. However, I am in 2 separate relationships. We're not like a throuple or anything like that. Yeah, throuple or anything like that.
How do you navigate that conversation of like you say to your husband, you guys know your orientation. You're like, I'm poly. But like when you find the guy that you want to be your boyfriend, how do you bring that to the relationship? Like when you met your boyfriend 11 months ago and you felt that spark, you're like, oh, I like this guy. I want to be more than just a friend. I want him to be my boyfriend. How do you go about telling your husband?
I mean, the very first time, I think there was some awkwardness to it. The very first time that I was like, oh, this is more than us just being open. I am also in love with him. And that doesn't take away from love with you. That conversation, it felt strange to have. But my husband's response was like something that I think defines how I love now. And he responded to me, he said, love is not a pie. If you give away a slice of pie, you have a slice less. If you give away all the love in your heart, you still have all the love in your heart to give.
Wow. That's really...
Yeah.
Wow.
So I completely, fully love all of my partners, and it's actually not strange. When I moved to LA, I made the decision to move to LA. One of the factors for my partner not coming to LA with me was that he had another partner. He's like, yeah, like, but like, you're not my only partner. And that's cool, And it opened the door for me to have this like really cool bi-coastal fantasy, which is like, at first I was like, oh, this is going to be weird because I was used to like sleeping in the same bed with him every night. And so I was like, oh, that must going to be strange. Actually, it was cool because like after like a decade of smelling this motherfucker's feet every night, I was like, Oh shit! My apartment smells dope. I love my husband. I don't mean that to be offensive. I love him. He's
we know
literally
when
one
our
of my
feet smelled.
He's one of my favorite people in the whole world. But like, I used to always tell him when he comes home, he gets undressed like the Tasmanian devil. Like he just kind of twirls his clothes off, and I'm like, there's a hamper. Like all of those things that used to like get under my skin, we don't have those anymore, and like. Our relationship is like insanely great.
Yeah.
But a lot of couples after long periods, like it's not abnormal for couples to stop sharing the same bed or stop sharing the same room. Like this is a thing that people who've spent like their whole lives together have done. Also, like monogamy is a much newer idea than polyamory.
Right.
Like, especially for dudes.
Yeah,
like,
those ancient Roman times.
Monogamy is kind of created just for the ownership of women. If you want to think about it. It was like, even heterosexual men were never subscribing to it. So I'm gay, and like my queer forefathers fought and like died for me to suck dick in any kind of way I want to. So like, why not? Like literally people died for me to have the kind of sex that I want to have.
Yeah. And
so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, I love that we just had that conversation because I've definitely, it goes back to, again, that sexual orientation. It's like, if you want to have multiple partners and you guys communicate and it works, then it's great. Mm-hmm. You're all just living your best life.
Yeah. And like, you know, people always bring up whenever discussing polyamory, people always say, well, I'm a jealous person. First off, like, if you said any other negative attribute about yourself, the whole room wouldn't just side with you and say, yeah, me too. Like, if it was anything else, if it was like, oh, I'm just a terrible, mean person, like, not everybody on the room would be like, oh, I see why you wouldn't do that because you're a mean person. Like, no, you're a jealous person. Work on your fucking jealousy. Don't not experience the greatness and possibility of love.
Yeah.
You know,
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked on that. There was times where I was like jealous of stuff and I was like, that's just wasted energy.
And does it arrive?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah. Like, friends get jealous of other friends, you know, like, does it arrive? It doesn't have any place in our relationship. So when it pops up, it's like a nasty zit in the middle of your forehead. Mm-hmm. Everybody can see it. You want to
respond to it.
And it's like, yeah. And it's like, oh, okay. You know, when my boyfriend moved in, my husband came to visit a couple weeks before, and he was like, I just feel like it's going to be so different now that you have a boyfriend. And I was like, you have a boyfriend who like literally almost lives at your house. How is this weird? And he's like, I guess I just got jealous for a second. I was like, oh, well then you do know that nothing's changed and I love you infinitely and you're gonna be a part of my life until the day I die if I have any say in this, and like you're my world, and I'm happy that we now have another person who's a part of it. And he's like, yeah, I know that. So like now I'm not jealous anymore. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, jealousy does pop up. You're right. It's like, is it the girl that won MasterChef when I didn't, and I stood there and her name was called and mine wasn't. Like I see stuff pop up with her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then sometimes I'm like, that should have been me. And then when I say that to myself, I'm like, no, it shouldn't. That's not my path.
Yeah.
That's her path.
Yeah.
And I have to like redirect myself. I'm like, because like, man, it was tough. It was really tough. And it also was something that was out of my control. Like I did the best that I could. So it's like when it pops up, jealousy pops up when you're not even ready for it or expecting it. And it's just like, you have to like be aware. It's the self-awareness. But
bringing it back to the food though, because you're a chef, and to the pie specifically. And in one of Ru's books, I think it was Working It, she brings up this issue where she would, basically like covet other people's blessings. Like I wish I had that. I want that for me. But like there's a slice of the pie for everybody.
Right.
And like part of me is just like, you know, when I pull up to my fucking sickening apartment that I got my hot little twink boyfriend living in with me now, and like all my drags lit and fierce, and I'm working on, you know, I got a new podcast coming out. My YouTube show just got picked up by a major network that I have. The ink hasn't dried, so I can't fully discuss yet.
Well, congratulations. I can't wait to hear about that.
Yeah. So like I got so many cool new things going on that it's like my slice of the pie tastes so good. They're like me sitting over here watching you.
Right.
Have you like?
That's
I don't want
energy.
yours.
It's wasted
I don't
energy.
even want it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's wasted energy.
But we do that. Like we even do that. Like even when eating. Like if you go to a fucking restaurant and you order one thing and your friend orders another thing and yours is bomb as fuck and your friends just look better, you go like, dang.
Yeah.
I should have got the salmon. Yeah. You know.
And then that's the thing about food is you can go, hey, can I get that salmon?
You know, in life, though, imagine if you addressed some of the things that you want that way. Because sometimes you can just go, let me get that salmon.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that opportunity. How do I make that happen for myself? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get a bite of that.
Exactly. So when you were just talking, since it's kind of still on the topic of jealousy, when your husband comes out to visit, you have your boyfriend.
Okay.
How does that work?
I know. So,
are you all three in the bed together? Does he get along? Does your husband get along with your boyfriend?
They get along. They get along really well. You know, like I said,
I'm in two threesomes.
We haven't had a threesome yet.
Okay.
I've had, I mean, throughout the almost 12 years I've been with my husband, I've had tons of threesomes with him. And me and my boyfriend, oh my gosh, we just did a little Palm Springs visit and we got wild. We had some threesomes, girl. So, I mean, I guess it's not, I guess we wouldn't be off the plate except for I am both of their type, but they are not each other's type. Right. I don't think that they would be.
And they're both your type.
They're both my type. If I have a type.
I was going to say, being poly, do you have a type?
You know, this is going to sound so gay, but like I'm really gay. I have on a big yellow wig. I
just thought you were really sunny and bright.
Thanks. I really am attracted to people's hearts. And I'm attracted to really good people. Like, I have dated some fugly fucking nice people. Okay? Like, I have. And I've loved every moment. I really love great people. People who treat other people well. Like, that gets my dick hard. It just does. I probably would have boned Mother Teresa. Wait, no, I think she was also like a racist. So maybe not her. Yeah. But everybody else who's nice.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Obviously I knew today was going to be over the top, but I didn't know in which way we were going. And we're on a rocket ship right now.
It's yeah. That's me.
Okay, let's help some viewers with drag lingo and drag culture. Like I said earlier, if I got my start into drag, you're my introduction, so that would make me Foxy Davenport.
Foxy Davenport. Okay.
I kind of like it.
I kind of like it too. I'm here for
it. So how does that work? That kind of makes sense, but then you have drag daughters, you have drag sisters.
So
it's all kind of like, it's like a sorority kind of.
It kind of is, especially being like a Ru girl, which I think is the ultimate drag sorority. With drag families, you have to remember that a lot of times as queer people, a lot of us don't have actual families to love and support us in our queerness. And like, kind of teach us the ways of life. And for a long time, you know, before YouTube and Drag Race and every other, you know, and all of the ways you can learn makeup and get tutorials and figure out costuming and things, drag was passed down from generation to generation by like older queen taught you how to do your makeup, taught you how to style your wigs. It was a queer art form passed down through people, not through like, you didn't learn it from a book. There was no class. There was no videos or anything like that to learn it from. So it was really the only way to do drag for ever until our lifetime right now. And so for all the queens who've ever come before there was a Drag Race, this is how they learned.
Right.
Now, you know,
but you touched on something being a drag mom, having a drag family. Sometimes it was more about being a family, and it's not about the drag. It's about being supportive to somebody that needs a family member. Someone to guide them, someone to teach them just about how to survive and navigate life.
Yeah.
All the while expressing yourself in drag, and that's your art form.
Yep.
That's part of the culture, but really it's like a foster parent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know a lot of queens in my age group who their drag mothers were like their parents, like another parent to them.
Who's your drag mom?
My drag mother is Deja Davenport, or at least she was. She kind of disowned me at some point because
What?
I know, I'm a lot. It wasn't not my fault. I'll put it that way. So I mean, people make mistakes, right? And I've made my fair share. So I did things when I was a younger queen that upset her and made her not feel like she wanted to be my mother. However, my drag family, the Davenports, were super accepting and have always been really accepting of me. And my grandmother, Alexis Davenport, now, and she and I talk occasionally, and she gives me tons of guidance. And when she was alive, Sahara Davenport, who was on RuPaul's Drag Race, was a really big mentor of mine. In fact, I was a little closer with my auntie, Sahara, although I learned most of my craft from my drag mother, and she was always there for me. Me and Sahara were like, we had a closer bond. And like, we were really like family tight. I have a really dope, supportive drag family.
I think that's really cool. I think that what's really amazing, and also like, it's more, how do I put this? It's more than just what like people see that aren't involved in the community. Like from the outside, there's people that are like, oh, it's drag brunch and it's a drag show and it's people putting on outfits and costumes and dancing. And it's like, okay, that's a very basic generalization when really there's major functionality to what drag families have and are doing. You have a drag mom passing down information on how to be gay or poly or lesbian or whatever the orientation, and helping that person navigate life, because they're like, maybe like your dad when you were a child didn't know how to navigate life for you and give you the guidance you needed, and you had a drag mom that did that for you. And that's part of the culture that a lot of people don't understand yet. And luckily, someone like Ru, who's, like bringing it to the forefront and putting it on the national level. Like,
she's like America's drag mom.
Right. Exactly. She's teaching everyone that there is more to it than just the show. It's like, there's a whole culture, and it's family, it's guidance, it's teaching people how to navigate this fucked up world that we live in, right? And it's even harder for some people who don't know who they are and feel like inside that they're not what everyone sees them, and helps bring that out of them. And that's a very special thing that the drag community has. And I wish more families were that open and accepting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I got really emotional on the last podcast.
Did you?
Yeah, we're criers.
Why? What happened?
Oh, my friend Fred, God, even just thinking about it, he was born in Taiwan and just his family came over for business, and just him sharing a story of growing up in Torrance and how like the racism and the interracial racism as well. Like, it was heavy. It was really heavy. And he's also gay, and he was talking about being gay and not accepted for his race and just like all of it. And it was just like,
Welcome to America.
Right.
Actually, the world. Like, I always say, oh, this place is so racist. I have enough money now. I'll just go live here. Oh, wait. They're racist too, or they're classist, or they're there's some system in place that would just hold me down specifically because of who I was born as.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's a few comedians that touch on it, and Tom Segura talks about it too. Like, they joke about how, like, in Japan, like, and China, like, there's racism between those two cultures and races. Mm-hmm. And then in Mexico, like, he's like, you can go to Mexico and meet somebody that's Chinese that doesn't speak Chinese and speaks English or speaks Spanish and not English, right? And you're like, when you start thinking about it, you're like, yeah, wait, like, there's other places that are just like here, like, going through the same struggle. It's not just America.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky. We're
the only place doing it based on color.
Okay.
Like, racism based on color is an American concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Everything else is based on, like, money, what part of the class, or, what the family you were born into, or where area you're from. But we're the only place to decide it. Oh, your color is the reason.
That's so wild.
Yeah. Yeah. Really weird.
It is weird.
I love my color.
I like your color too.
Thank you.
I love your color.
I love your color too.
I love all colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think back to some moments when I was a kid that I remember them. When I remember them now, I'm like, oh, those were like, that was a racist situation, and I witnessed it, and I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know what to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that also still happens for, like, adults. I mean, we're not much different, but there are situations, like, because I know you're very much into activism. I remember a point during Black Lives Matter when people started saying silence is violence.
Yeah.
And
Martin Luther King actually said, oof, don't fuck up this quote. Gosh, don't fuck up a Martin Luther King quote.
Take a minute. Let's get it right. Do you want to look it up?
Yeah. It's the silence. And in the end, we will remember the silence of our friends, not the words of our enemies.
Yeah. But I think
really deep. Something like that. I think I just fucked it up, but whatever.
But I know what you're saying, but yeah. I think it is important to also be patient with those that are silent, that are trying to figure it out before they say something or do something irrational. Because I know for a moment, for me, I wasn't being silent, but I was just like, I need to take a minute and assess this before I just jump in wildly and because obviously I'm going to defend Black Lives Matter. Absolutely.
Right.
But I want to do it in a way that when there is, like, let's say a white person that is, like, shouting Blue Lives Matter, it's like, well, okay, hold on a second.
I've never met a blue person.
Exactly. So how do I, being an ally, I want to take a moment to be an ally and deliver the message correctly to a person that is not understanding it? Because it's just like they're just like, because there are people that aren't understanding it, and then there are people that are racist. Right. And you can crack the people that are just not understanding it.
Sometimes. And sometimes you can't, because some people are beyond reason.
Right.
And, my mom told me this as a really young child, to not try to reason with unreasonable people.
Yeah.
It's the biggest waste of fucking time ever.
Right.
So there's that. But if you're trying to share what your perspective is with somebody, right? My advice is always to have conversations without animosity. Because if you have conversation from anywhere else other than love, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. It's a waste of time. So if I'm angry, we probably can't even talk about it. Like, I need to walk off and be angry. Like, whatever. Yeah. However, like, taking a second to assess, and silence is violence, and all of these things became really necessary tools for us as people of color to describe how awful it's been. Like, we're like, no, we've reached a point now.
Yeah.
That if you say nothing, you are on the other side. Because I have to live this life every day.
Yeah.
I have to deal with this every day. So, like, yeah, take a second to assess. Yeah. And while you assess, you are assessing from the other side. You can come back and switch on this other side, because everybody here is involved. Everybody here is involved now.
Yeah.
And I think that in a country, in a world built on racism, specifically in a country like this, literally built on racism, that we've kind of got to accept all of us have it. And when that skeleton comes out of the closet, when that little zip pops up on your forehead, we got to pop it.
Yeah.
And we can't take it as anything else other than what we've been given and what we've been taught. Because no child's born a racist. Nobody's born that way. We've all had these ideas instilled inside of us, and unlearning takes a lot longer than learning.
Yeah.
So I'd say if you're in need to have these conversations and you're seeing situations like this, it is a necessity for you to speak up, but it has to come from a place of love or nothing gets done.
Yeah.
Nothing gets done.
I think that's what I was trying to say with the silence for a moment, is that I didn't want to come from a place of anger, because I'm seeing it and I'm angry at people that they're treating another color like this. I'm like, you're treating black people this way, and it makes me angry.
Well, I will tell you this, and this is a thing that happens.
I wanted to come from a place of love before I did it. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
But go ahead.
Things magically happen in America when white people get angry. So, like, be angry.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I mean, I've been angry about it my whole life. You know, so if you're just getting angry right now and we're seeing Black Lives Matter hit the ceiling the way it has, like, white people got angry.
Yeah.
That's what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
White people were like, enough.
Yeah.
And that changed things for us. And honestly, if we got angrier about the way that we mistreat people because of their color, if we got angrier about the way we mistreat people because of their gender, like the awful way we treat women throughout history, imagine if we got angry about that and actually fucking changed it.
Yeah.
But nothing's gonna happen while we stop and assess. So like, we're on the other side until we do something else. Because that's a new perspective for me. Because we've been taught to be on the other side.
Okay.
That's all we know.
Yeah.
Like, the sexist ideas that I was given growing up as a male, I didn't choose them, and I will break them down every time they come. And I'm not a bad person for having them, but they are bad ideas. They're not in line with what I want to be, and if called out for them, it sucks and it hurts. And I learn from it.
Yeah.
And I grow from it. And I'm not a sucky, hurtful person to anybody else I meet then. I grow.
Yeah.
And if we just all go around helping each other grow through conversation without animosity, which is really the only way, like, it'll make things change.
Yeah.
But even though we have to have those conversations without animosity, for some reason, we can't even get to a place where we do until we get angry about what's happening.
And I will say that as far as I thought I have grown, your breakdown of even just me wanting to pause and assess, like, that gave me a whole new perspective of how you saw that versus how I saw it, and where I thought I was. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you pause and assess, I
get it. Yeah. I get it.
If let's just break it down and make it easier. If you see a woman getting beat up, and you pause and assess if it's okay, then a woman just got beat up and you watched. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't watch.
Exactly.
And just like I wouldn't watch anyone or let anyone be racist. I mean,
right. So you don't pause and assess. You just speak up.
No, and I do. And I can give you, not that I'm not even trying to defend myself. I'm just going to tell you a story where, and it was long before the Black Lives Matter marches. I was chef at a restaurant, and restaurant kitchens are predominantly Hispanic. And I've always admired the work ethic of these guys. I mean, they'll run circles around anybody in a kitchen. And I've had strong conversations with my parents about it. And anyway, this one guy came into the restaurant and he was looking for a job, and he was from Kentucky. And he was in LA, and he's like, I hitchhiked here. I'm homeless. He's like, but I need a job. And I'm like, I'm not going to turn this guy away. He's ready to work. He's not out begging for money. He wants it. I'm like, look, you show up on time, you do your job, I'll hire you. whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm back in the office one day and someone comes in and he's like, there's some shit going on. And I come out and I'm like, what's going on? Because I got my best cook and I got this new guy. And, you know, there's hierarchy in kitchens and shit. And the new guy turns and he's like, this. And I'm not even going to say the slur, but he throws a slur. He's like, this guy, this and that and the other. And I was like, you're out right now. And he's like, what? I was like, I don't care what the story is. I was like, if you're going to call him that in front of me, you're out. You're fired.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? He was like, but, and no, I was like, no. If that's how you're going to talk about another human being in front of me, you're out.
Yeah. I don't understand why people are so surprised that racism is terms for firing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was it was one of the fastest decisions I probably made in that restaurant, but it was the most like real time. Like I was like, no way that's happening on my watch. And then I had to go to the owner and be like, I know we just hired this guy last week, but we fired him. And they're like, why? And I'm like, he did this. And they were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No more explanation.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And I bet
we all need to approach everything like that.
Yeah.
If it feels uncomfortable to you, say something, because then that person now becomes aware of what they're doing.
Right. And they now have this is the outcome from when I do this. Because the problem is that a lot of, especially in this country, racism everybody's been taking a moment to assess or address it, and it's been swept under the rug or not addressed and not touched or anything. So much, like growing up, there were so many microaggressions that I had to deal with on a daily basis that were fine. Nobody wanted to talk about it, you know? And until there's an actual action that happens, a reaction to this, like there's actual, what is the word I'm looking for? There's not necessarily punishment, but there is something that happens when you're racist, right? And you just don't get to be racist and get away with it.
Yeah.
Then people are like, well, maybe I shouldn't say that because I'll lose my job. And I'd rather you not say racist shit to me because you're afraid to lose your job, even if you are racist. How about we start there? Yeah. We get you to stop doing racist things because you don't want to lose your job, because you don't want to change your life. Like if we can put those rules in place first, then maybe I just won't have to experience your racism. Hold on to it if you fucking want to.
Right.
But I don't want to have to experience it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you teach your kids, don't call me the N-word because you'll lose your job. And then maybe they won't. And maybe in some point we'll learn that it's just wrong to treat people this way.
Well, it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
It is happening.
Yeah.
And it's this kind of progress is never as fast as it needs to be, but it is happening.
Yeah. There are now repercussions for being racist.
Yeah.
And what you did is you showed that to your employee. This is the repercussions of you being racist. And I mean, I bet you that even if he went along and said and did those kind of things again, in the back of his mind, he now knows, like,
he won't forget me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. He won't forget that happened.
Yeah.
He's out. Let's keep on the tough topics.
Yeah.
My wife was sharing with me that there was some history with some gun violence in your past, and that multiple times, right? There's a lot of this.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in West Philly, so I mean, I'm from the hood for what it is.
Yeah,
you know, and I've never, I mean, even when I was younger, I used to like box and was never about violence. The only time I was ever been about violence is when I've been drinking, which is why I don't do that anymore. Yeah, I have some tequila and I break out in handcuffs, girl.
I'll drink the tequila for you. That's my vibe.
I love it until I'm like, I'm going to fight everybody.
Tequila just makes my clothes come off.
It does that too. I'm going to get frisky and then freak. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, growing up in this like gun-loving America, in a place where guns were dropped off to my community with the drugs, I've had to experience and overcome loss of family members and friends.
Yeah.
In a way that like I get the game that everybody where I'm from is playing and how they've been forced into it and how they have to. And there's no other choice. And so for me, for a long time, it's made me hate the gun. Like, because if this game existed and these guns didn't, like, I'd have some friends and cousins.
Yeah. Definitely such a tricky situation in this country because you also see what's happening, between Russia and Ukraine, how shit played out in Australia during quarantine.
How did shit play out in Australia during quarantine?
People got like forced into their homes by their government and could not leave their homes. And like no way to like defend themselves.
And if they had a gun, what were they going to do?
I don't know. I'm not saying that the gun is the answer. I'm just saying like wild shit happened down in Australia.
Yeah. And they don't have no guns in Australia. That's the smartest thing. You know what they also don't have? Mass shootings.
Yeah. The mass shootings are wild.
Yeah. That's what we have.
And it's funny how those kind of went away during quarantine and then people got back out and then here they are again.
Yeah. And the fucked up part of it is, as long as guns are readily available to everybody, we're going to have mass shootings. Yeah. And the reason why Australia doesn't have guns is because I think it was the 13th time they had a mass shooting that they got rid of guns, and they haven't had a mass shooting since.
Did they really? They got rid of all their guns?
Yeah, they bought their guns back from people. Australia doesn't have guns.
I was in a store one time, and in a Walmart, and this guy was trying to buy 13,000 rounds. And I was like, what do you need 13,000 fucking bullets for?
Yeah.
That's a lot of bullets.
And you can buy them at Walmart. This is America.
It's wild. Guns terrify me.
Yeah. Also, like, why can you buy bullets at Walmart? They're not a necessity. Unless this is the Walmart by the hunting grounds.
Right.
Like.
Right.
The fuck?
Right.
If this is to protect yourself, you don't need that. Who are you protecting yourself from? The zombie apocalypse? Like, what the fuck?
It did feel that way when quarantine hit, though, in the grocery store. It felt like the apocalypse.
It did feel like the apocalypse, right?
I'm going to tell you, because I'm in a grocery store every day as a private chef. And one day, and I'm telling you, this is from one day to the next. It was like a Tuesday to a Wednesday. Tuesday, I was shopping as normal. Wednesday, I went into the grocery store as normal because I'm shopping for my client. Like, when you got millions of dollars, like you just close the gate and your security guards stand out there and you feel safe. But I go to the store and like the shelves were ravaged and people were stealing things from each other's carts and people were fighting over toilet paper. I'm like, bitch, I have a bidet. Take the toilet paper.
Right. Also, like,
I don't know. That's a whole nother.
Shitting was never a symptom of COVID. Like, where did we get fucked up with toilet paper?
I have no idea. But also, do you understand? I can make it through an entire year with 12 rolls of toilet paper.
That's crazy.
A bidet. Do you have a bidet?
Okay. No, I don't have a bidet, but yes, that's awesome.
Get it. The $30 it attaches to your toilet.
So I got one, but I got a fancy toilet that doesn't have a bidet on it, but it's like this fancy like, shaped toilet. And so the bidets that I've ordered, 2 of them, and neither of them fit on it. So it's like shaped all weird and fancy, which I thought was fucking cool when I got my apartment. Now I'm like, I want to squirt water in my butt, and it's gonna like I have to get something fancy made with it.
It's the best wake up in the morning too. Like you go in there and just blast cold water in your ass and you wake the fuck up.
Ooh,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
I love it. But I was sitting there watching these people fight over toilet paper, and I'm like, they don't have bidets.
Right. I also was like, y'all need some fucking Metamucil. How much is your shit sticking to you? How much TP do you need? Like, I take clean poops, you know?
Do you shave or wax that area?
I don't like dingleberries, so that's the thing.
See, people don't understand. Also, like, if you got a hairy butt, like, so you're gonna have very messy wiping. Go get that shit shaved and waxed, and it is a different
world.
Yeah,
or at least like groom it, like take it down.
Take it down.
Yeah.
I don't need a florist back there.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of other fun stuff you can do back there.
If you're a hairy person and that's part of your aesthetic and you want that, I do think it's sexy, but like you just gotta, or just take the time to like detangle your dingleberries after you poop because like you're gonna get them. Like, and
I'll tell you what, a bidet fixes all that. But anyway, I'm in the grocery store watching just pandemonium, and then there's a line inside the grocery store that's wrapped around the inside. And I went home to my wife and I was like, if people start trying to come in for our food, what are we going to do? Because like if I was like looking for food, the fastest way to get the most would be in an apartment complex. Because it's the most amount of people in a confined area and there's food, right? And all I'm thinking is, how do we defend our apartment? I got nervous. I got scared because we don't have guns. And I'm like, what if someone's trying to come in our apartment? We can't call the police.
But like, okay, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Are you willing to shoot people for your cans of food?
Well, I'm talking in a situation. No, hold on. Listen, I'm not.
I'm just asking.
If I'm in my apartment and people are coming to ravage my apartment for food, that means they probably are willing to kill me for food.
And you thought that we were going to get to that place like
I felt it for a minute. I got nervous. Because I've never seen people act like that in a grocery store.
Right.
And I was just looking at it as a microcosm of like what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's willing to break into my apartment for my food, they're willing to kill me for my food. That's how I felt.
Right.
So what do I do?
Do you kill them to keep your food?
Do I kill them to keep myself alive is what I'm thinking.
No, you just give them the fucking food and nobody gets killed.
What if they just kill me anyway?
Then the gun wouldn't have helped.
They're breaking into my apartment to get food. They'll kill me.
Yeah, then you're going to die.
I don't want to die.
The gun won't stop that. You having a gun.
If they're breaking into my apartment.
Then somebody's going to die if they're coming here to kill you.
I don't want it to be me.
You don't want it to be you. So you're going to shoot them first.
If someone's breaking into my apartment, what do I do? Honestly, if someone's breaking into my apartment, I'm running out the fucking back door and jumping over.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot smarter than shooting somebody. And you don't need to buy a gun. And nobody got murdered. Look at that. Look at that. You could have sat and had that conversation with yourself.
I just wanted to have it with you.
Okay.
I just wanted to have it with you. I wanted to play it out. I would jump out the back door and run.
Right. Just be out.
I would go to Costco because they got a lot of shit.
Yeah. Also, if we looting, like, I don't know if we starting at apartments first. There's a couple more steps before we get to apartments.
I know, but it's a scary world.
It is a scary world. And guns don't make it safer. And I think that's my thing with guns. It's like, in no situation other than you're meeting an animal, do guns make it safer for you?
Correct. Because if a bear sees you and is coming at you, it's going to kill you.
It's going to kill you. And that's the only time a gun makes it safer for you. Because if somebody coming at you with a gun and you have a gun, you still can die.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make it safer.
Yeah. But we do. So
if it's with an animal, then you don't need an automatic gun at all.
No.
You need like a fucking rifle. This all of our gun laws are put in place before there were automatic guns.
Correct. We definitely need new gun laws. For sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that. For sure.
And we definitely don't need automatic guns.
How do we get rid of all the guns?
Australia did it, so...
Yeah, because they bought them back.
But you think that the richest country in the world don't have enough money for that?
I think there's guys
in Texas look at all the other bailouts they've given out. Let's ask
I know
Elon Musk and all the banks and all the other shit. I think we got enough money.
Yeah, Elon's already solving enough of our world's problems. He can't solve all of them.
Yeah.
As I get mad when people are like, Elon Musk is this and that. And it's like, guys, look, Tesla has done the biggest against climate change.
Mm-hmm.
The amount, trillions of emissions saved from going into the air by creating Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
SpaceX, he's helping our species fight for life beyond Earth's existence.
So are our tax dollars.
What do you mean?
The SpaceX got a bailout of billions of dollars.
No, they didn't get a bailout.
Didn't they? Am I quoting this wrong?
I believe
billions of dollars of...
They get grants just like any other company. But hold on.
Okay.
Elon Musk also paid the most taxes than any human in the history of taxes.
I like that. I'm here for that. I'm not against Elon Musk.
Right.
Okay. I want to start out saying I'm not against anybody. I do feel though.
Elon does his share. He shows, but here's the thing. It's not Elon's fault that SpaceX gets money from the government. If the rule is there, why wouldn't he use it?
Right.
So the government.
Why wouldn't he use it? Because he has enough.
No, you need it. We're talking about he's created a situation where it actually saves our government money because now the money that we would spend to NASA to do missions, it's cheaper with SpaceX using reusable rockets.
Okay, cool.
So SpaceX is helping our species survive past life on Earth. Because eventually Earth has it's a ticking time bomb. Then he buys Twitter. I think everything he does is with love. If you listen to his interviews,
cool.
He's all about human and the future.
It's cool. I also feel like I was having this conversation yesterday, and so my feelings are that rich people are evil, and this is why. Like all rich people, every single one. And here's why. If you can have more money than you could use in your life, in your lifetime, you have more money than you can use in your lifetime, and you see how many people don't have enough to survive, there's some amount of you that just doesn't give a fuck, and like not giving a fuck is a little bit evil.
I don't think the money is the issue. Like money doesn't solve all the problems. It's the systems. The systems.
I give you that. I completely agree.
But because also saying, there's a guy that came to Elon Musk and he's from some European Union. He said he tweets out, Elon, with $6 billion, I could solve world hunger. Mm-hmm. And Elon goes, show me the plan.
Yeah.
The guy sent him a plan. Elon sent him $6 billion in Tesla shares.
There you go.
He said, cash it out and go. Well, they're working on it.
Word. There you go.
So he's not a villain.
Then he's not a villain.
Not evil.
But that's what I'm saying. Anybody with more money than they can use for the rest of their life who is not doing that is evil. There is some amount of evil to you. Because even if it's just that I don't care about anybody else, there's that.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I want to have enough money that I can go join Jose Andres with World Central Kitchen and do disaster relief.
Right.
Like I want that. I've done disaster relief cooking. It was life changing and it changed other people's lives. And I didn't give a shit about money when I was there.
Right.
But I do need to have a place to go home to.
Right. And so I'm saying I just want enough money to know that I will always have a place to go home to.
Yeah.
And people, so it always blows my mind when there are people who know that for the rest of their lives, they're fine. And I'm if some shit goes down, 3-4 months, I'm all of it's gone.
We do have to talk about perspective. We don't know their perspective. We don't know what they feel like. They might have kids or a lot of kids or generations that they're trying to save up for, so their family legacy lives on and their family doesn't have to.
Working for yourself to pay for your life is admirable. Working so that your generations after you don't have to pay is a Caucasian fucked up idea that has fucked our country.
That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
But there's not just white people that do that.
No, but generational wealth is a fucking white thing for real in this country. Okay. It's just been passed down, and in a way that we weren't even allowed to create it or garnish it for ourselves. If you think about simply the fact that redlining and how my grandfather, who worked his ass off but had a good job, couldn't buy a nice house that would grow in value and he'd be able to sell that so that my father would have a little bit more money.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a thing. It's a thing that as a person of color, we're out here worried about how to survive right now for us.
I know. I get that.
Yeah.
I am too. I don't have generational wealth.
Not anywhere.
No.
Damn.
I'm trying to survive the same. I don't have.
You didn't get the American dream.
I'm creating my own.
There you go.
I'm creating my own, and I've worked fucking hard to do it. And I understand that there's been times where it's been a little bit easier for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when I say like that's like a Caucasian idea that's fucked up, and I don't mean that to sound like I'm thinking like white people are like evil or anything like that. Like I don't
take it that way.
Okay, like I don't. It's just like not a thing that I've experienced in a lot of Black communities. We're trying to figure out how to survive right now, how to be equal right now, how to have a fair life right now, and like it's just like a weird sucky thing to be like, oh, I'm trying to make money for my grandkids to not work. Well, bitch, like I can't eat right now.
Yeah. Everyone has a different start. Everyone has a different path. I don't judge anyone's path.
Yeah.
You know, but your actions are your actions. And when you see that and like someone from your perspective and sees that, I get it. And you know, I was going to say something.
Say it. Forgot it. Did you smoke weed today? No, you can't.
I can't. No, no, this has just been such a wild conversation. I'm loving everybody. I'm trying to just take it in and be present.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm an ally.
Yeah. I got that from like moment I sat down. You carry that with you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that like you doing this and with everything you'll have to come will inspire that in other people.
You know, like from like today, I didn't know these interviews were going to be like this today. I'm glad that they are because, and there's a moment on MasterChef that's going to happen that's about, you know, me trying not to get in the way and give somebody else a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's an important thing. And I'm glad that I have the connections and the opportunity and the ability to land like this studio.
That's so fucking awesome.
And give someone like you another place to share your story and hope that it connects with somebody. And
yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's all good.
Emotional because I connect.
Yeah.
I connect with people. I feel people's energies. I was talking earlier with another guest that like spiritually I'm about the universe and how how our energies go around and I can feel people, you know, like Okay, let's move on to something more fun. Let's talk about terms.
Okay.
No tea, no shade.
Okay.
What does that mean?
No tea, no shade. It's kind of like
we're jumping to some drag terms.
Yeah, we're jumping to drag terms. No tea, no shade. It's kind of like I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not being shady. I'm just being honest. Just keeping it real with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the tea part? What does that mean? Like no tea? Like we're not gonna sip tea and
like I'm not like sugarcoating this shit for you. I'm just keeping it 100.
Okay.
Right.
What about gagged?
Gagged. I mean, I don't have a gag reflex, but when something makes you gag, it's like, oh my God, that was like when something's incredible. You're like, wow, that was awesome. Like you gag. Like
so
I'm gagging, girl. Lost my fucking breath. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Kiki?
Kiki. Okay, Kiki has had so many different like
evolutions. Okay.
It really means like for me, right? It means like let's like socialize, let's kiki, let's kick it. I mean, back in the day though, like we want to have a little kiki. At one point meant like a Coke, like a bump of Coke, like that was like an old school New York term. At one point for like let's have a little kiki. That's what it meant at some point.
But did that come? Does that come from like taking the key and dipping it into the Coke and hitting the bump off the key?
I don't know. Maybe. You know, I have a fob now, so I'm happy I don't do Coke anymore.
You want to do a little fob bump?
I don't know. That'll be a huge fucking bump off my big fucking fob. I don't know. Oh, girl. I was in my 20s in New York, so like I did my fair share of the...
It's wild.
Of the kiki.
It's a wild substance.
I've never been skinnier or angrier in my life.
That's so wild because, I mean, I've never done enough of it to fluctuate my weight. I've also never paid for it.
See, I was smart and I didn't pay for it either. But like, I'm good. Like,
but I was also, I've never been addicted to it. I've tried it. I mean, I can count the amount of times I've done it. But I can say when I do it, I want to fucking conquer the world.
The world.
The world.
And I think that I just did. That's the worst part about it. And I've watched videos of me performing on cocaine. And I'm like, I remember that night and how fucking kick-ass I thought I was. And I'm like, you just look like a cokehead.
Oh, okay.
That's all. You don't look good.
So you don't go back and go, oh, that looked awesome.
No, but I go back and I remember that feeling. Like sometimes I understand people who like have had addictive personalities or who had addiction. For me, when I decided to quit cocaine, it was the decision and I never did it again. It was easy. But I did it. Oh, I fucking did it for like 3-4 years when I was doing it. And like,
never paid for it in 3 and 4 years?
I mean, rarely. I was a popular nightlife personality. And drinking and drugs are so associated with drag and so welcomed into the drag community and so okay and fine that actually, it's a detriment to the drag community because we won't sometimes discuss how our brothers and sisters are like destroying their lives with it because it's just so socially acceptable to be like a drunken coke whore drag queen.
I think
that's like normal. That's like weird.
But I think that happens a lot with all performance art because like being in a band is the same thing. Mm-hmm. When we started out, I joined this band at 16, and from 16 to probably 27, well, like 25, 16 to 25, we had a pact. We were like, we are sober on stage always. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, because we watched so many bands fall because of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
And then like we had some moments where some band members got into some things and it just destroyed us.
You know, my mom used to say, a smart man learns from his mistakes and a wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of drag queens do the same. And in a lot of ways, I don't think I've ever really talked about this in an interview, but in a lot of ways, RuPaul's Drag Race saved my life because I was a drunken coke whore before I did Drag Race. And I was terrified that I would be, my like rock bottom in New York City is I was go-go dancing because I also go-go dance too. I was go-go dancing at this bar called The Cock where you like, it says it in the name. And I ended up going home with somebody and I woke up on the Lower East Side, like 3 blocks away from the bar I was at, in a city that I lived in for 16 years. And like this guy's like screaming at me, like, you need to get out of my apartment. And I'm like, what? Okay. And so then like I go downstairs and I don't know where I'm at in New York City. And I was like, this is gonna happen to me in like somewhere random where I'm by myself. Like, I was in Australia for 3 weeks by myself on tour, right before the pandemic. Imagine if I was drinking and doing a bunch of coke then and like lost in Australia. That's right. All that I could think about. And all I could think about is watching the people who I had seen come before me, who had, seen them have drunken, drug-induced altercations and how that like ruined everything for them. And I quit. I quit everything for a while. And then when the pandemic started, I started drinking again. And I recently stopped drinking again too, just because I want to be skinny. And it fucks up your waistline. Like, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth it how angry it can make me too. So I say all that to say, as a queen who has had the experience of being drunk and fucked up on stage, and now like my life is just better. And any like performer, especially drag queen, listening to this, know while it is completely normalized for you to get fucked up at your gig, that shit ain't normal. It is not normal to be wasted while you're working. No other profession allows and accepts that. And what we do is so great and so beautiful and so much more than being lit on stage. Just because we're in a bar and everybody else is getting fucked up doesn't mean we got to be the fucked up entertainment.
Yeah. Well, and there's I think a lot of it too stems from just like the pressure. Like you're about to go up on stage and put it all on the line, and like some people can't deal with that anxiety, but they really want to be there. Yeah. They really want to be on stage. So there's a coping mechanism. I mean, I relate with that just from being in the music business. I've seen it. Like there's no high like being on stage, right?
Right.
You get up there and then you get off it. I mean, I remember the first time I played Staples Center.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sleep for 3 days after. I was on no drugs. I was on no alcohol. I was fucking just high on that experience.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this is how artists crumble, because they get this high and then they don't know how to get it again. And then they're chasing it and they're trying.
Yeah. And drugs on stage give you a high unlike anything else.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, I remember those times. I remember how it felt. I remember those highs. But when I go back and I see how it looked, that, you know, I'm a Leo and a drag queen. I'm a little bit vain at least. And like, I like watching the videos of me performing. When I go home tonight, I'm probably going to watch the show from brunch. You know, my boyfriend records the numbers. I want to see what I did. I want to see what I can do better. I'm proud of it. That to me gives me a much better high than watching the videos of when I was fucked up, and even better high than feeling the way I felt when I was performing.
Yeah.
You know, like knowing that like I was able to do actually my best, because you can't do your best when you're lit. Like you can't. Yeah. It's not possible.
No, it's not. But you think you're doing your best.
You think you're doing better, which is crazy. And the thing about it is too, the drugs and alcohol don't actually take away your anxiety for it. You know, I'm a stoner, and I fully realize that like if I feel like I'm being anxious and I want to smoke before a show, I tend to try not to do it, because it doesn't take away my anxiety at all. I just think that because I'm anxious, this coping mechanism will help me. It's not, I get high because I like being stoned. I don't get stoned to overcome my anxiety, you know, and because it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Right. Speaking about doing shows, I actually have a question.
Okay.
Okay, it's a two-parter.
Okay.
You go on Drag Race, you have to like make your costumes sometimes, or all the time. Sometimes. Not everyone is a seamstress.
Yeah.
So that part is challenging. You said you raised, I saw in an interview, you raised like $18,000 before going on Ruse to buy like all these outfits. Where do you store all these outfits? Like when you're done, like is like walking into your entire apartment a closet? Like what do you do?
Yes and no. So now, okay, so I've been doing drag a little over 15 years, and like
that's a lot of outfits.
A lot of outfits. And you know, one of my old roommates, me and my husband used to have this roommate, Will. Will, I'm so sorry if you're ever listening to anything. We were so terrible. Like my drag was everywhere. We were so messy. And he was like, one day you're going to understand this and get it together. Now I'm really pretty organized, with exception of this one closet. So like when you walk in my house, it's kind of the fantasy. It looks like a little drag fantasy. There's like wigs everywhere, but they're organized and everything's like color coordinated and like all like done up. I mean, I'm 36 years old. So like I can't have a messy apartment anymore. I'm not at that place. But there's one closet in my house, and it's my Drag Race closet, of garments that I'm probably never going to wear. And they were thousands of dollars each. And
I don't want to get rid of them?
I'm not going to get rid of them. I don't even think that I don't even know that I can fit them. But I'm not. Like in my mind, they're my museum piece.
Yeah.
They're like out, you know, either when I'm gone, we'll hang these somewhere, or like I'll have these to like show my grandkids and shit like that. Not that I'm having grandkids, but you know, like, you know, I wouldn't have those for the rest of my life. They're my first time on my favorite television show. And I say it as my first time because like, who knows, maybe there'll be more one day. You know?
There's definitely going to be more. Yeah. How are you not coming back for All Stars?
Right? I know. You better let them know.
We're letting them know right here. But like, because there's an evolution to all of us. I mean, like, I sat and prayed for another shot on MasterChef. And then I started auditioning for other TV shows, and I got close. And then like I was going to be on one, and then the pandemic happened. And then I got this call from MasterChef. And it's like, they called because I'm out there hustling. So it doesn't matter what you did on the show the first time. Mm-hmm. What matters is what you do with it after, and keep going, and then you'll be back. They'll be calling you.
And you know, as much as I want to go back and as much as I want to get called, what I've done with it after has made me so genuinely fulfilled and so honestly happy that I'm always like, I want to go back, but I'm also like,
doesn't matter.
I'm good.
You let it go. That's the best place to be. Because a lot of times, and everyone that I've interviewed, there is a trauma to being on these competition shows, because when you get there, when you show up, you're probably coming from a place of hunger, a place of despair. I mean, I know when I auditioned, I had nothing left. I had gone through every resource, and I was at my last little bit.
And you needed it. And for me, when I went to Drag Race, I was homeless. Yeah. I had been homeless for a few months, and my partner and I were living separately because we didn't have a place to live, not because we were separated.
Got it.
But that was causing issues in our marriage. Or the cat was staying with places with people. Like, my life was shit. I was cokehead and an alcoholic, and it was fucking my life, and I didn't even know what was going wrong and why my life was being fucked. And I love my life now, but I do desire the opportunity to compete and not be fighting for it.
Right. It's a different.
Like, I was really fighting for my life. I needed it. I needed to go there, and why it crushed me so much to lose, because I needed to do well. I didn't know how I was going to pay that money back. I didn't know how things were going to be, how things were going to go. I didn't know what was going to happen to my life afterwards, and I needed it. Yeah. It was life or death for me.
Yeah.
If I competed now, it'd be another way for me to express myself.
Right.
Be another cool opportunity for my art. But at the end of the day, I'm good.
Those episodes changed your life that much.
They did.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the great things about reality shows. There's a lot of shitty talk about reality shows and how there's a lot of judgment, whatever. Fuck all that, because I know how to change my life.
Yeah.
You know how to change your life. And everyone has a path. There are some wild reality shows out there. I'm like, what? That's not reality. But that's a different story. But a competition show, there's something about the competition shows that find these people in the world that have these wild stories, these wild paths, this journey that's just so crazy. And it leads up to this competition show. And then this competition show puts you in the living rooms of so many people, and then your life changes. And I love it. That's why I'm doing this show. So I can because also on those shows, you get your 15 minutes and they edit that story up. And like, I knew this tiny little bit about you, and then now you get to come on here and talk for an hour and a half, hour long. And then we really get your story. Yeah. And I feel like that's important too. And that's why I'm doing this.
But also without those episodes, without that little bit of time there, I've, went and getting opportunities like this to keep sharing who I am. And every chance I've gotten to do that, the thing that's been the coolest, and RuPaul says you like to blame it on the edit. Well, I do blame this on the edit. Every time I go somewhere, every time I get to share myself in a performance, every time I get to, talk with somebody and be like who I am and shoot my shit, and people get to know more about me than they did on that show, people are surprised. They're blown away. They're like mind blown that what was shown of me then and who I was then, and as opposed to who I am now and what I can show of myself now. And like, I didn't get the best edit in that. I didn't get edited in very much. Right. There wasn't lots of me. And
definitely could have been more of you.
It could have been more of me. But as much as I like get bitter about that, in a way I'm kind of like thankful, because it's kind of cool when I go somewhere, I think I'm a really good performer. I like my performances, but like sometimes people fucking lose their shit because they're expecting me to suck.
Because they haven't seen
me, and they just think that I got sent home after like a shitty lip sync against 5 other people, which has never happened in Drag Race history and was weird and whatever. And they think that that's what it's going to be. And then like, I blow their fucking minds. Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, all right, yo, I just moved my mouth to Beyonce's song. Like, you probably wouldn't even be that blown away if I didn't look that awful on TV. So there's even like positives that I take out the negatives of the experience I had at this point.
Well, and like, but you've also won like a lot of pageants, right? Mm-hmm. And so like those aren't like broadcasts on RuPaul's Drag Race, right. So no one knows that you slay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's kind of cool.
It's cool. Yeah. I can't wait to come watch you. Okay. We're going to play a little game.
Okay.
Got to give you a chance to win something.
Yes. Oh, gosh. If I lose again, this is going to be awful.
So here's the prize.
Okay.
One of my epic mega cookies.
Ooh.
I have a cookie company. I kind of messed up. I should have had this on the desk the whole time.
No, it's all good.
But I started this during the pandemic. And it's been amazing. It's a dozen cookies baked into one. It's not vegan.
I'm not vegan.
You're vegetarian, right?
In theory.
Oh, no. Okay. Tell me your theory.
I don't like...
Are you pescatarian?
Yes.
Flexitarian?
Flexitarian. I'm flexitarian. Like I'm not going to like buy it and put it in my refrigerator and shit like that. But like I'm not going to like pick it off the pizza. Like it's there. I mean, like I'm not gonna get a meat lover's pizza, but like if there's like a piece of pepperoni on it, I'm like, oh, let me like, or like a little piece of bacon on something that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I have it, but it's rare and like it never normally beef because like I actually just like puke whenever it happens. That's why I stop eating meat. Yeah, beef makes me sick.
What about fish?
Fish doesn't.
Right. Okay. I love fish. There's no way I could like sushi is like one of my favorite things.
I love fish. Yeah.
So flexitarian.
Flexitarian.
Cool. Okay. Normally what I do on my show is I do a blind taste test.
Okay.
But that's for like a lot of chefs or people that think they know about chefs or whatever. But for you, I came up with a special game.
Okay, I like the special game.
Because I don't know, blind taste test might be a hot mess. For you, we're going to play a little... I'm going to show you a queen out of drag.
Oh.
And you got to tell me who it is.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Because, you know, that's the first thing I do. When I see like a really beautiful drag queen, I'm like, what does she look like as a boy?
So you're going to ace this.
I'm probably going to ace this. Let's see.
Okay. So let's see. I know. I'm just checking the screen, make sure I get this. We're going to flip this around, right?
Oh, that's Mayhem Miller.
Got it. Ding, 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 ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding. She's the queen of the party. She's like, hands down, like one of the greatest drag queens in Los Angeles. Like, really an incredible performer, a nightlife icon, and a really good sister, too. She's a really fun time.
And hasn't won RuPaul's Drag Race.
And so, no, she hasn't snatched the crown from RuPaul's Drag Race, but she's like, she runs Los Angeles. Like, she's that girl.
Mayhem.
She's that girl. Yeah.
Miller time.
Miller time.
All right. Ready for the next one?
Ready. Oh, yay. I know them personally. This is Manila Luzon.
Facts.
Manila is...
Look how beautiful.
I know. Stunningly gorgeous.
Stunning.
Manila's my mom's favorite drag queen because she came to my wedding in drag. We're really close. Manila was partners with Sahara Davenport, who was my auntie who I was really close with.
Okay,
before she passed away.
I want to hear about your wedding.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a fancy fucking New Year's Eve wedding a block away from Times Square.
Wow.
I know. It was really awesome.
How many people?
Like 150.
Shit.
Yeah, tons of like drag queens and all kinds of... I was surprised they all took off on New Year's Eve. That's a coin day, girl.
Right?
I know, but it was fun. And like, you know, it was tons of booze and we did it. We pulled it off. It was... And Manila Luzon was there.
In drag.
In drag. She came in drag.
Yeah, she's stunning. Okay.
That's Naomi Smalls.
Killing the game.
I am.
3 for 3. This is way more fun than the taste testing.
Such an icon. Naomi, I'm not sure if she's.
I love that you're giving me little tidbits after.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's still in the Vegas show yet, but if she's on tour, like catch her because she's like one of the most incredible performers. And those legs, like her legs, literally go up to her clavicle. Like it's like
Jesus. Does she do the like leg up and then fall all the way to the ground?
She don't even have to do that. They're just so long she can just walk, and you're like, how is that head moving on those legs? It really like this. You think this picture is of her chest? That's her kneecap.
You had me looking.
Pheromone.
You're so fast.
I am.
Look at this. Also stunning.
She look like Christina Aguilera, right? Pheromone is stunning, gorgeous. She's an all-star. She was beautiful on her season of All Stars and beautiful on her regular season. She's a beauty queen.
Yeah, but when she's not in drag, like super emo punk rock.
Right, but that skin though, even though you can see like that's a person who like they done either spend some money or some time on that skin.
Both.
Or both. Right.
Both. I think I gave away the next one already, but let's see.
Valentina.
Yeah. Wow, 5 for 5. Tell me about Valentina.
Valentina. So you want to talk about somebody who had like a really fierce redemption because she was always like a fan favorite. Like the fan base loved her, and for great reasons because she's phenomenal. She's like a star. When she walks in a room, you can tell like that's like her energy radiates like stardom.
Rock star.
But it was so cool because she was in this lip sync where she didn't know the words during her season. And so she had this mask on the runway and she asked to leave the mask on, which became like the biggest meme of 2020. Like just Valentina and a mask is like, I like to leave the mask on, please.
Doing a lip sync.
Yeah.
But doesn't know the
words.
That's
then
a
she
flex.
came back to All Stars and she like fucking rocked it out. And she was incredible. She did the televised production of Rent Live.
Wow.
She was Angel in Rent Live. Yeah, that's like, I mean, she's like the Latina RuPaul girl.
Well, you crushed it, so we're just gonna slide this
it on over. My boyfriend's gonna be so mad. He's gonna be like, "You said you were on your diet," and I'm gonna be like, "But I got stoned, and then I ate this whole box of cookies tonight."
No, it's not. It's one cookie.
I know.
So you can just say,
I
only have one
cookie. Oh. You hear that? Where's he over there somewhere? Okay, good.
Open it up. Check it out.
Okay, I am. Ooh. It's got a thank you note in it and everything. Okay. Oh my God. This is good looking. This is like a s'mores, basically.
That's my s'mores flavor.
It's got Hershey's chocolate.
Toasted marshmallows.
Toasted marshmallows. Like not just marshmallows, toasted marshmallows. Do they have like, oh, they're toasted. I was like, do they got chocolate sprinkled on them? No, they're toasted.
There's chocolate in it.
Chocolate in it. Can my camera see this? Wait. Oof. I'm gonna fuck this up.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna roll me a nice little bit of indica.
I wish I didn't have to work tomorrow. I'd come smoke and eat that cookie with you.
I got a hammocks on my balcony.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
I know. It's really cool. And I'm gonna get stoned.
Paradise.
And I call it my oasis.
Your oasis. Your oasis. I feel like we could just keep talking for hours.
We could forever.
So,
but I am sitting on my penis, so we should probably stop at some point.
Well, let's end it there. We started and we'll end it on the tuck.
Okay.
We'll let you Shantae away.
Yeah, sashay away.
Sashay away.
Shantae, you stay, but
Shantae,
I'm coming
you
back.
stay.
All right.
I fucked it up.
No, it's all good.
Sashay away.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this. I truly appreciate it. you're a blessing to this world, and I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. I can't wait to come see you.
Yeah, thank you. I can't wait till you come.
We're gonna come tomorrow night.
Yes.
I'm gonna text my wife as soon as we're done.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for having me. All right. Bye.
And action.